The world with its relentless noise and glittering distractions tells you that your struggle is real. It is a master storyteller, and its favorite story is one of limitation. It tells you to measure the worth of your life by the cold, hard numbers in your bank account, by the growing stack of bills on your kitchen counter, by the suffocating weight of the debt that clings to your shoulders like a damp shroud. It teaches you, from birth, to live inside a loop, a ceaseless spiral of waiting for a future that never quite arrives, a pattern of delay where you walk the same circle of lack, again and again, and tragically you call this reality. You have been an obedient student, you have followed all the rules of men, you have been taught to work harder, to climb ladders that lead nowhere, to budget your pennies while ignoring your infinite worth, to journal your anxieties, to hope for a better tomorrow that is always just out of reach. You have strived, and you have worried. You have sacrificed your peace, your time, your very life force on the altar of making a living. But in all your frantic striving, in all your sleepless nights spent worrying, you have neglected the one sovereign power that was gifted to you at the beginning of all things, the power of your own divine word. You have remained silent, and in your silence, you have given your consent to the story of limitation. You have allowed the default rhythm of fear, memory, and collective doubt to orchestrate the symphony of your life. But I am here to tell you, by a law that supersedes all human economies and conditions, that your condition is not a fact. It is a spell. It is a hypnotic trance, cast by a collective belief in scarcity, a dark enchantment woven from generations of fear. And the most glorious truth is that this spell can be broken, not in a year, not in a month, but in an instant. It is not broken with more effort, more time, or more worldly money. It is broken with a word. A single, divinely aligned, spiritually charged sentence spoken with the conviction of a king returning to his throne. In this message I will give you that sentence. It is not mine. It is a timeless key, a master frequency from the work of a great spiritual luminary of the 20th century, Florence Scovel Shinn. She was a woman who understood a profound secret that life is not a battle to be endured, but a glorious game to be played, and it is a game played with words. What you are about to receive is not a philosophy to be debated. This is a spiritual law to be activated. This is the key that cancels the old tired rhythm of lack and commands a new reality of inexhaustible good to manifest. And when this law is set in motion by your spoken word, the outer world, with all of its so-called facts and figures, has no choice but to bow. First, you must understand the gravity of what you are undertaking. What I am sharing with you is a spiritual technology. It is a tool of immense power, designed to fundamentally re-engineer your inner world, which is the sole cause of your outer world. This is not a replacement for practical inspired action in your life. It is the very power that infuses your practical actions with divine momentum, making them effective beyond your wildest dreams. The real work is never done on the outside. The work is done within. And it begins with the sacred sentence that you are about to receive. The prison of the silent mind. To truly grasp the phenomenal power of the spoken word, you must first dissect the utter powerlessness of a silent, undecreeing mind. The state you have come to call financial struggle is not at its root a lack of resources in the world. There is no lack in the universe. It is a lack of command. It is the condition of a mind that has been expertly trained by the world to react, to worry, to endlessly analyze, to fear and to complain, but never to decree. This persistent state of lack is in its essence a spiritual condition. It manifests as the cold knot of anxiety that greets you the moment you awaken, the constant, low-grade hum of fear that underscores every moment of your day. It is the deep, isolating shame that forces you to wear the mask of "I'm fine" while your inner world is in a state of catastrophic collapse. It is this inner state that turns every potential joy into a source of pain. A simple desire to buy a coffee becomes a mental battle. Every purchase, no matter how small, becomes a source of guilt. Every unexpected expense feels like a personal attack. Every phone call from an unknown number sends a spike of pure dread through your nervous system. You have been told that living this way is normal. It is not. It is the existence of a magnificent ship with its engines running at full power but with no direction given, no port declared. And so it drifts on the chaotic seas of circumstance, not by accident but by a profound and tragic absence of deliberate speech. This financial stress is but a symptom of a deeper, more pervasive silence. This inner turmoil inevitably bleeds into the physical body, creating chronic exhaustion, mysterious ailments, and illnesses born directly from a mind that is perpetually at war with itself. It puts an unbearable strain on your relationships. How can you truly and vulnerably connect with others when you are constantly hiding the truth of your own inner state? Your confidence, your creativity, your sense of self-worth, they don't just diminish, they erode, day by day. Not because of a number in a bank ledger, but because you have unconsciously accepted a false and demeaning identity. You have come to believe, through your silence, that you are the person who lacks, you are the one who struggles, you are the one for whom things are always difficult. You have likely been a devout follower of the modern religion of hustle. You have bowed at its altar believing its gospels. You have worked harder than anyone you know, taken on extra shifts, started side businesses, and sacrificed your peace and your well-being, believing with all your heart that more effort was the only answer. But your experience has been like trying to fill a cup that has a gaping hole in the bottom. The extra income, when it came, was immediately consumed by the very problem you were trying to solve: an unexpected bill, a broken appliance, a sudden crisis. Each time, you were left more exhausted, more disillusioned, more hopeless than before. And this leads to the most soul-crushing realization of all, that your absolute hardest work was not enough. The system felt rigged against you. This is rock bottom. It is a place of utter desolate surrender. It is the sacred, painful moment where you finally understand you cannot solve this problem with the same mind that has consented to its existence. You do not need a new budget or a new 5-year plan. You need a new decree. You need a miracle, and a miracle is simply a radical change in consciousness that the world must then rush to reflect. The word that goes forth, my own breaking point, the moment that shattered my old reality, came not with a loud bang, but with a final, crushing silence. A formal, intimidating letter arrived in the mail, filled with the usual capitalized, bold-faced threats and deadlines. It was the culmination of years of struggle, and in that moment something inside me broke. The fight left, the energy to pretend, to strive, to worry, to plan, simply vanished. I slid down the wall, and sat on the floor, the letter in my hand, and I spoke into the vast emptiness of the room, and the vast emptiness of my spirit. I give up. I am defeated. I don't know what to do. In that moment of complete and total surrender, a spiritual law is activated. Where human will ends, divine power begins. The law provides. As I sat there devoid of my own ideas, an article seemed to appear before me on my phone, as if placed there by an unseen hand. It was about a woman I had never encountered, Florence Scovel Shinn. The name was unfamiliar, but her teaching struck my soul with the force of a divine revelation. She taught that life is not a chaotic struggle, but a game that is played and won with the word. Our spoken declarations, she explained, are not empty air, they are potent vibratory commands that go forth and impress themselves upon the universal substance, shaping our reality. The universe is not deaf. It is a perfect and obedient servant. It is not judging us or testing us. It is constantly working for us, according to the precise commands we issue with our words. My logical mind, the very architect of my grand failure, immediately scoffed. It was an ingrained, cynical voice. How could a mere sentence change the cold mathematical fact of my debt? It's absurd. It's childish. But the part of me that had just surrendered, the part that was broken and open, was listening intently, and a terrifying, liberating question arose. What if the logical mind was the entire problem? What if my constant internal and sometimes spoken litany of "I'm broke, I can't afford that, there's never enough, something will probably go wrong," was not a simple observation of my reality, but a continuous, powerful negative prayer, a dark affirmation? What if I, with my own words, was meticulously creating and sustaining the very prison I was so desperate to escape? This was a radical, world-altering thought. Shinn's teachings were not filled with wishy-washy hopes or timid requests. They were bold, authoritative, royal commands. You do not beg the universe for your good. You claim it by divine right as an heir to the kingdom. The fundamental law of existence, she taught, is not lack, but inexhaustible abundance. Scarcity is an illusion, a shadow that disappears when the light of truth is spoken. A spark of something I had not felt in years ignited deep within my spirit, hope. But it was more than just hope. It was a nascent sense of authority. I was so profoundly tired of my story of struggle. I decided in that moment of grace on the floor to stop telling it. I would no longer give it my breath, my energy, my belief. I decided to play a different game. With a new sense of purpose, I searched for her specific affirmation for supply, and then, the words appeared on the screen. It was a sentence so perfect, so divinely engineered, so complete, that it felt like a holy code, a master key designed for the exact lock I was facing. As I read it for the first time, I felt a resounding click deep within my soul, a lock turning in a chamber that had been rusted shut for decades. The phrase was, "My supply is endless, inexhaustible, and immediate, and comes to me under grace in perfect ways." I spoke it out loud. The words felt foreign in my mouth, yet ancient and powerful. Endless and inexhaustible was a direct, frontal assault on my deeply ingrained reality of lack. Immediate was a bold denial of the power of time and delay, which had been my tormentors. And the final clause, under grace in perfect ways, was the ultimate declaration of trust and release. It meant my good would come with an effortless ease, through channels I could not possibly imagine, in a way that was flawlessly perfect for me and brought harm to no one. It took the crushing burden of the how from my weary shoulders. It was freedom. I decided then and there to conduct an experiment. I would suspend my belief in the old painful reality. For the next 24 hours, this single sentence would be my only truth. The 24-hour demonstration, the law in action. My experiment in absolute faith began. I stood up from the floor, my legs still shaky, and I spoke the words into the quiet room, this time with as much conviction as I could muster. My supply is endless, inexhaustible, and immediate, and comes to me under grace in perfect ways. Instantly the voice of doubt, that familiar sneering tyrant, the old rhythm of fear, screamed in protest from the depths of my mind. "Look around you. Look at this letter. Who are you fooling with this nonsense?" The chasm between the majestic word I had just spoken and the bleak world I saw with my physical eyes was immense. It felt like a lie, but the very desperation that had brought me to my knees now became my superpower. I had nothing left to lose. I had to choose which reality to inhabit, the fleeting evidence of my senses, or the eternal truth of my spoken word. In a moment of pure will, I chose the word. For the next 24 hours, that sacred phrase became my sword and my shield. I used it to mercilessly cut down every thought of fear, every whisper of worry, every memory of past failure. The moment it arose, I wrote it down on a small card and taped it to the corner of my computer monitor and my bathroom mirror. I made a picture of the words my lock screen on my phone. This was not about mindless, robotic repetition, it was about consciously inhabiting a new reality. I said it constantly, under my breath, in my mind, and out loud whenever I was alone. But more than just saying it, I began the real work of feeling it. I would close my eyes for a few minutes and try to generate the feeling of endless. What would endless support feel like? What would endless creative ideas feel like? What would endless peace feel like? Every time the chilling fear about the threatening letter rose up in my throat, I would meet it head-on with the word. I would repeat the phrase with authority, sometimes 10 or 20 times, until the physical sensation of anxiety in my body subsided, replaced by a quiet, warm stillness. Something profound and miraculous began to shift. Not outside, not yet. The change was entirely within. A deep, pervasive sense of peace, a feeling I hadn't experienced in years, began to settle over me like a warm blanket. For the first time in what felt like a lifetime, I felt a sense of calm despite my circumstances. I was still in debt, the letter was still on my table, but it had lost its power over me. By deliberately focusing on the divine truth of infinite supply, I was withdrawing my precious energy and my potent belief from the lie of lack. I was choosing my focus, and in choosing my focus, I was choosing my reality. I went to sleep that night with the phrase echoing not just in my mind, but in the very core of my spirit. The next morning, the habitual cloak of dread that usually greeted me upon waking was gone. A strange and wonderful lightness had taken its place. The day passed in this state of quiet trust. Around 10:30 a.m., the Soparas, an email with an unusual subject line appeared in my inbox. Important update regarding Q3 performance bonuses. This was completely unheard of in my company. The idea of a performance bonus was a running joke, a myth from a bygone era. My heart began to beat a little faster. I opened the email. It spoke of an unexpectedly profitable quarter, and a new strategic initiative to reinvest in our most valuable asset, our employees. I scrolled down the generic corporate text, my eyes scanning for the details, barely daring to breathe. And then I saw the demonstration. There in a simple table, next to my name, was a bonus amount, $5,000. I stared at the screen. My analytical mind went completely silent. It couldn't process this. It was a sum so far beyond any rational expectation that it simply did not compute, but it was real. Tears began to stream down my face, not tears of sadness or even relief, but of a staggering, overwhelming gratitude that shook my entire body. This was not a lucky break. This was not a coincidence. This was the law in action. This was a direct response from the universe. For less than 24 hours, I had deliberately and forcefully changed my inner decree, and the outer world had immediately rearranged itself to match that new command. The supply had come. It was immediate. And it had arrived under grace in perfect ways, through a channel I could never have forced, predicted, or even conceived of. My experiment was over. The demonstration had been made. If this truth is resonating in your spirit, if a part of you recognizes this power as your own, if you are ready to stop drifting on the sea of circumstance and start decreeing your destination, then subscribe to this channel for more deep dives into how to use these immutable spiritual laws. And right now, in this moment, I want you to make a command. Go to the comments section below and declare for yourself and for the world to see, my demonstration begins now. Do not ask. Do not hope. Declare it. Let's fill this space with the collective power of the declared word. Let us activate this law together, as a conscious community, deconstructing the divine technology. What happened in that 24-hour period was not magic, luck, or wishful thinking. It was law. The phrase, "my supply is endless, inexhaustible, and immediate, and comes to me under grace in perfect ways," is not just a random collection of positive words. It is a masterpiece of spiritual engineering. It is a precise, multifaceted spiritual technology. It is a sentence scientifically constructed to dismantle the subconscious architecture of lack and replace it, foundation and all, with the unshakable truth of your divine inheritance. Let us break down its components to understand its power. My supply. It begins with the word my. This is the declaration of ownership and personal relationship. This is the key that starts the engine. It is not some abstract impersonal supply existing out in the universe. It is your supply. You are not a beggar, pleading for scraps from a master's table. You are a rightful heir to the entire kingdom of God. This single word powerfully shifts your entire consciousness from one of asking and seeking to one of knowing and claiming. It affirms that abundance is your birthright, your natural state. It is yours. Is endless, inexhaustible. These two words are the direct and powerful antidote to the poison of scarcity. The core belief that fuels all financial fear is the lie of limitation, the insidious idea that there is not enough to go around, that resources are finite, and that you must fight for your share. These words cancel that fundamental lie. They declare that your source, which you can call infinite spirit, God, universal substance, or the divine mind, can never ever run out. It is an infinite, eternal ocean of all good. To worry about taking a bucketful from that ocean is a cosmic absurdity. By affirming this, you are commanding your subconscious mind to release its deeply programmed fear of lack, its hoarding instinct, and its competitive anxiety. You begin to relax, perhaps for the first time, into the profound truth that the source is eternally full and perpetually flowing. And immediate. This is the word of power that cancels the illusion of time and delay. The human ego, steeped in doubt, loves to keep your good forever on the horizon, always coming but never arriving. Soon, one day in the future. The word immediate collapses this illusion. It is a command for your good, which already exists in the invisible realm, to appear on the material plane now. It aligns you with the spiritual truth that all creation is already finished, and that you are simply using your word to call it forth into visible form, without a waiting period. You do not need your miracle next year, next month, or even next week. You decree its appearance now. And comes to me. This short clause establishes you as a powerful magnetic center for your own good. It completely reverses the typical energy flow of human struggle. You are no longer chasing money, striving for opportunities, or hunting for your supply. You are standing still in your spiritual authority and declaring that your supply is intelligent, alive, and it is flowing to you, seeking you out with unerring precision. You shift from being the hunter to being the magnet. You become a conscious receiver. Your only work is to prepare yourself through your faith and feeling to receive the good that is already on its way to you. Under grace in perfect ways. This is the clause of absolute faith, surrender, and divine intelligence. Under grace is a crucial modifier. It means your supply will manifest harmoniously, without struggle, stress, or strain, and importantly, at no one else's expense. It ensures a win-win outcome for all. It dissolves the anxious human need to figure out the how. You do not need a logical plan, you need a divine decree. You release the details, the logistics, and the strategy to a higher intelligence that sees the whole picture and knows the path of least resistance. In perfect ways affirms that the timing, the channel, the form, and the scale of the manifestation will be absolutely perfect for you. The unexpected work bonus was a perfect way. It was an ingenious, elegant solution my worried mind could never have conceived of. This final part of the phrase is what allows you to truly let go and watch the law work its wonders. This is not positive thinking, this is a statement of universal cause. You speak the word not to convince the universe of its truth, but to convince the deepest parts of your own being. When that inner alignment with truth finally happens, the outer world, which is only ever a mirror, has no choice but to reflect your new conviction. How to activate this law today? The profound beauty of this spiritual law is its elegant simplicity. You do not need any special training or equipment. You need only your own voice and your growing conviction. If you are ready to stop being an observer of other people's miracles and begin your own demonstration, take these steps not as a chore but as a series of royal commands. Step 1. Inscribe the law. Take a pen you love and a piece of paper. Slowly, deliberately, write it down. My supply is endless, inexhaustible, and immediate, and comes to me under grace in perfect ways. Don't just scribble it. Feel the meaning of each word as you write it. The physical act of writing inscribes the law not just on the paper, but upon the tablet of your subconscious mind. Then place this written decree where it will govern your sight throughout the day, on your bathroom mirror, on your desk, on the dashboard of your car, as your phone's wallpaper. It becomes a constant silent reminder from the law of truth to your often forgetful human mind. Every time your eyes fall upon it, you are reissuing your divine decree and reinforcing the new reality. Step 2. Set the daily rhythm. Consistency is what establishes a new dominant vibration. Sporadic attempts will be overcome by old, habitual thought patterns. Create a sacred, non-negotiable ritual of speaking the decree. The two most potent times to do this are immediately upon waking and just before falling asleep. In these liminal states, the conscious, analytical mind is still quiet and the gateway to the powerful subconscious is wide open. Before your feet touch the floor in the morning, speak the sentence 10 times slowly. Try to feel the truth of it setting the tone for your entire day. As you are drifting off to sleep, let it be the very last thing you say and hear. Let this absolute truth marinate in your spirit overnight, reprogramming your consciousness while you rest. Step 3. Use the word as your sword. This is the active part of the practice. This is where the battle for your reality is won or lost moment by moment. During your day, when the thought of a bill, a debt, or any form of lack appears in your mind, and it will, you must interrupt that pattern immediately. That is the old rhythm, the old programming, attempting to reassert its dominance. Do not engage it. Do not argue with it or analyze it. Simply cut it down. Stop what you're doing, take a deep breath, and speak the truth with force, either out loud or in your mind. My supply is endless, inexhaustible, and immediate, and comes to me under grace in perfect ways. The lie of your old mind says, you don't have enough to pay that. Your powerful word replies, my supply is endless. You are actively, consciously retraining your mind to default to divine truth, not to conditioned fear. Step 4. Obey the inspired action. This spiritual work is not about sitting in a room and waiting for bags of money to fall from the sky. The affirmation aligns your energy field and opens the divine channels for your good to flow to you. You must then be willing to walk through the doors that open. After you begin this practice, pay close attention to the intuitive nudges, the sudden brilliant ideas that seem to come from nowhere, the unexpected urge to call someone, to visit a certain place, to start a small project. This is what Shinn called following the divine leads or taking inspired action. It does not feel like a grind or a hustle. It feels light, easy, joyful, and like the next obvious, natural step. Trust these hunches implicitly. They are the perfect ways that the law is using to deliver your supply to you. Approach this as a glorious game. For the first time, you are finally learning the rules, and the first and most important rule is you must speak. You must command. The journey from the crushing, suffocating weight of lack to the stunning, tearful demonstration of supply taught me the single greatest truth of human existence. Our outer world is nothing more and nothing less than a perfect mirror of our inner decree. For years, my own words, my thoughts, my beliefs, and my silences had painstakingly built a world of struggle, and my reality had faithfully, perfectly reflected that inner blueprint. The timeless teachings of Florence Scovel Shinn did not give me a mere suggestion or a nice idea, they gave me a spiritual weapon, they handed me a key. A single sentence that allowed me to demolish the old rotten structure of lack and command into existence a new one, built on the unshakable foundation of infinite abundance. The true miracle was not the unexpected money appearing in my bank account. The true miracle happened 24 hours earlier. It happened in the quiet of my room. The moment I chose to suspend my disbelief and speak a new word. It happened the moment I dared to declare abundance in a space filled with the overwhelming evidence of lack. That choice, that single shift in consciousness, is the cause that precedes all outer effect. I share this story and this sacred technology with you not to promise a specific sum of money at a specific time, though I tell you with all sincerity that miracles of that magnitude and far, far greater are waiting for you in the wings. I share this to remind you, to reawaken you to the truth of who you are. You are not powerless. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the law in action. Your word is the activating agent. Your state of being is the only cause. Your good, your supply, your peace, your joy, it is not something you must chase or earn or prove yourself worthy of. It is your divine birthright, waiting patiently in the invisible realm for your command. It is waiting for you to claim it. So I invite you now to take this sacred sentence and make it your own. Let it become your default thought. Let it be your sword in moments of fear and your anthem in moments of faith. Let us speak it one final time together, with all the divine conviction of your true, magnificent self. Take a deep breath. My supply is endless, inexhaustible, and immediate, and comes to me under grace in perfect ways.